do this. 3, 2, 1. What's my opening line? Just kidding. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Meyer, along with Dan Palmerley, and holy crap, Dan, we finally are recording together. I think it's been a month or two. There hasn't been really much going on. I mean, speculations. We're going to be talking about some of those. We're going to talk about the draft. We'll be talking about where they're going to be picking, what it looks like for that. We definitely want to talk about the Jalen Hurts stuff that's been going around. No, we haven't jumped on the bandwagon and talked the same day around it, but you know what? We are going to address some of the stuff that's there because we're just tired of it. And then we haven't heard much from the A.J. Brown camp. So, Dan, let's kick things off and talk about the draft a little bit because that's, 3 weeks away?
2 weeks.
2 weeks away.
Tuesday at the time of this recording, and it's Thursday in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks and 2 days.
Oh, okay. So we're rounding it to be exact for it. Now, the Eagles have first round, a second round, 2 third rounds, 2 fourth rounds, a fifth and a sixth round. Due to some trades that were happening, they got rid of their fifth round, right? For, what was it?
Dontavian Wicks or whatever.
Dontavian Wicks from the Packers going on it. Dan, let's talk about it a little bit. Now, before we get into exactly who they're going to pick, let's take a note on who left the Eagles and just a quick little recap. We had Reed Blankenship, all right, safety. He went to the Texans. Jalen Phillips, which I'm a little hurt from that. Dan, what's your feelings? He went to the Panthers. I mean, I would have loved to keep him.
He chased the money. I mean, he came here because he wanted to come to a winning organization. I mean, he was traded, but he wanted to go to a winning organization. He said he loves the city. He wanted to play for Vic Fangio, and then he just bolts for the money. So, whatever.
Yep. And he went to the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. You went from Miami, where at least it was hot and, weather was pretty good, to Carolina, where it's iffy and your team is still going to suck. So enjoy.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you, I think he did chase the money. Now, he was injury prone. He came to the Eagles, had an awesome season, just like Zach Bond did, and Zach stayed around. Jalen, I'm kind of disappointed in you. I think you should have stayed regardless. But, hey, you wanted to get paid. Great. All right, more power to you, whatever. Nakobe Dean went to the Raiders. I think that's the last time we're going to hear his name.
Yeah. I feel bad for him because he's a good player, but you're never going to hear from him again. I mean, the Raiders are just not a good team. They don't have a good defense. They don't have a good offense. He's going to be in purgatory out there. But, the Eagles drafted Campbell to take his spot, and unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
Well, when Dean came back, I mean, he was injured. He came back for a while, was really good, and then injured again. And we already saw what Campbell did. I think Campbell can handle the role and the position and the increased reps.
Yeah, I think with time. I mean, in the beginning of the year when Dean wasn't playing, their rush defense was suspect, but at the same time, we were talking about Jahad Campbell maybe being Defensive Player of the Year, or Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. So, I mean, he's a good player. Instinctually, you're going to learn. I mean, he has the benefit of playing next to an All-Pro. Dean is a good player, don't get me wrong, but Dean had his shortcomings in, pass, being out on pass protection, stuff like that. And it's just, I don't think it's that big of a loss. I miss the personality and maybe the little bit of leadership more than I do his production on the field.
Exactly what you said. I miss the personality, but I don't think it's that huge of a loss. You and I were talking before the season ended on potentials and who's going to get paid and who they're wanting to keep. Nakobe Dean was on the list for that, a potential to keep but not get paid. I don't think we wanted to see him get a ton of money, and if that was the case, sorry. And you're going to the Raiders. They probably potentially have a lot of money because they ain't going anywhere.
Well, remember, they made all these signings, and they spent all this money because they, at the time, traded Crosby. Now they had to take the Crosby contract back, and they have all this money. So I don't know if they have that much money that they can actually play with. But let's face it, they weren't going to be competitive anyway. I can't even tell you who the hell their quarterback is. Is that where Kirk Cousins just signed?
I think he did. And in fact, is this the first of all, Kirk Cousins has got paid throughout his NFL career more than most, including I think Tom Brady or whatever it is.
Tell me Kirk Cousins isn't the Sammy Sleeves Bradford of the NFL right now. Bradford got paid so much money and never amounted to jack shit, and Kirk Cousins is okay, but he's getting paid like starter money, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think he's. Let's see, Kirk Cousins. Let's see where he is at. Yeah, everybody, we do this live. What can I say? Gives his first impression of a new QB, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, he's there. It's pretty sad we have to look that up. I mean, all right.
But the thing is that they're going to draft Mendoza with the first overall pick. So Cousins is what, going to be a gap guy, or is he going to be a mentor?
Gap insurance, man.
Yeah, well, they need a lot more than just gap insurance out there in Oakland/Vegas/Los Angeles, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Well, we'll define. Well, they got a whole new the Allegiant Stadium, so they're going to be in Vegas for a little bit of time. They're not going anywhere, at least for 10 years. Jahad Dodson. All right, he's. Yeah, I actually would have rather keep him only because of, the AJ stuff was a little unsure. We got Dontavian Wicks. There's a couple of others that were signed that nobody even realized or their names that were on the list. But I'm disappointed. I thought he was productive in clutch situations, but I don't think he had that many receptions.
Yeah, I thought he fell victim to the fact that we have two number one wide receivers. So his touches were going to be limited at all. And I don't think he was naturally a slot receiver. They kind of just brought him in to play a slot role when he came in here because you had two established outside guys. So I think he had a few things working against him. I would have liked him to stay because I think he would have been a lot better with more volume. Maybe as the second wide receiver. I don't know if he's that good. I mean, I liked him as a player, but I'm okay with him not being here, especially after the people we picked up.
Yeah, I agree with you. So then Matt Pryor, Brett Toth, Uche? Is it?
Josh Uche,
and Ojulari?
Azeez Ojulari, yep.
Yeah. So we lost all those. Okay, Dan, what are the Eagles' needs for this draft, and what do you want to see out of them, at least in the first couple of rounds?
So 23 is like such a limbo pick because you're not getting the top tier guys in the first round.
Oh, wait a second. Like 23 players are not the top tier. It's not like we're taking 23 QBs or 23, running backs.
I know, but you're going to have a run on the players that I would like to see, and I think our biggest need is edge rusher. I don't have confidence in any edge rusher that they have on this roster. I have never been a big fan of Nolan Smith because I think he's undersized and he has no move other than a speed rush. Jalix Hunt, I think, is good, but can we rely on him to be a 10-sack-a-year guy? I don't think so. And I had to write down who the hell they signed as their other edges because that's all we have. So I'm going to... Where the hell did I put it? Okay, here we go.
Oh,
we signed Arnold Ibikiti. Okay.
Ibikatai or something. Ibikitai. Whatever. Okay. Anybody knows how to pronounce his name, please let us know because we're just going to butcher it. And maybe we'll hear his name in the first preseason or something.
But he had an amazing 2 sacks last year, so kudos on that one. And then we have Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Yeah.
First of all, I just Joe.
Yeah.
That's it. I like
Joe Try.
Joe Try.
Yeah.
Joe Try. He had no sacks last year.
Yeah,
right?
Joe didn't try very hard because he had no sacks. So. Yeah. So, and he had 2 sacks the year before. So, That's a rough edge room. For all the money that we're going to spend on defensive tackle and how we have Ojomo, we have Carter, we have Davis, we really have no edge rush right now. So we need an edge rusher. I think we still need a veteran edge rusher, and I think we need to prioritize that in the draft first before we go anywhere else.
Who do you want to see him pick up?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't kept up with college that much.
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm the same deal unless it's a thing. So I took a look at the Eagles mock draft and the tracker and some of the potential things that they're looking at. Obviously, they have the 23rd overall pick. That's going to happen on April 23rd. They've got to list Amari Cooper Jr. So Omari, not Amari. People
Omari.
Okay. So they get that one. Keldrick Falk, who is an edge rusher out of Auburn, that is a potential. But here's the thing. The draft changes after the first pick. You know, the lineup just goes. Everybody, the dominoes will fall however they want it. Now, Dan, I agree. We need an edge. I think the other thing to look at it is that Lane Johnson is returning, right? And that was a speculation that he wasn't going to, and then he said he's coming back. We did re-sign Fred Johnson, so now we've got the Johnsons, right? I do think we need some depth there because it's potential that neither one of those are going to be here after the 2026 season.
Yeah, I agree, but I think we have other pressing needs to where we don't invest a first-round pick in that category. And if we are going to pick a tackle in the first round, I saw a lot of mocks go towards the offensive tackle for Alabama. Then I would prefer we get a tackle and kick him inside the guard because I will be the first to drive Tyler Steen the fuck out of the country. I don't like him. I don't.
If you looked at his productivity from last year and what he was doing, I agree with you. I don't think he was there. And I think that was some of the issues that we had with our run game.
Yeah, I mean, we had no success running to the right side, okay? And it wasn't just because, you know, Juergens was having a rough year, but it wasn't just because of Juergens. I mean, if you bull rush Steen, it was over. He was on his ass pretty much half the time. And I just don't think he was anything special. I mean, I think of him as a quality backup, but a guy that's going to start on an offensive line that's going to rely heavily on the run, and now with Mannion, the play action game, I don't think that's a good fit. I don't like him. I don't think that it's worth it, and I'd rather see them get somebody else, honestly.
I'd rather see them get somebody that's proven. I'm not sure I want to replace Steen or any of the Johnsons with a rookie right to start. You know, I know on defense it's a little bit easier to do that, but I don't think for the line and somebody that's there for Jalen. I think the other thing is that we saw Sidney Brown's gone, right?
Oh, darn!
I don't think that's a loss. They brought Epps back last year, and Makuba is a possibility. I think with the depth we have there, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, Brown wasn't going to start anyway. Let's face that. He's been given every single opportunity to start, and he just hasn't taken advantage of it. Keely Ringo. So I'm not mad at it.
He did start for special teams, though, right?
Oh yeah, well, yippee. But yeah, I'm not upset at that one. I mean, the fact that they got value and actually traded him for picks is amazing because
Which is weird because we didn't see the value in him. I mean, I think we would have had to pay just to get rid of him.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm okay with getting rid of him because we signed the safety from the Falcons, I believe.
Yep.
Or no, it was from the Saints, who actually has been an All-Pro for special teams, and he's a safety. So there's your replacement on special teams. Like you said, we have Epps back, who I think did a great job. I mean, let me put it this way: as a safety, you're doing a good job when your name isn't called, and I didn't hear Epps' name called at all. So I'm happy with that. And Makubo, he was injured, but when he was in there, he made some flashes, he made some plays. So you just hope that he returns to form.
Now, I did know. Now, hold on a second. Where's the? Oh, here it is. I want to talk about wide receivers in a second. Your buddy Adoree Jackson, has he been picked up at all? He's an unrestricted free agent.
I don't know.
No, he has not. He hasn't gone anywhere, so
No.
don't worry about it.
Darn.
But here's the
Shucks.
problem. That means he's still available for the Eagles. Not saying that they're going to keep him and, go to. Let's talk
We
about
have
wide
our
receivers.
corners.
Wow. Let's just say we'll see what this year, it entails, obviously. And now wide receivers, there are a couple potential ones for the draft. Dan, do you think that their first pick is going to be a wide receiver or potentially an edge rusher?
Knowing the Eagles, I think it's going to be an edge rusher because they prioritize the lines. But I think that their second rounder, they might look at receiver. They have made a few signings for receivers, but they're all on like 1-year deals.
Yep.
So, and if they want Devonte Smith to be their number one, now I'm talking as if A.J. Brown's not on the field. So I'm not even going to go.
We'll get to that discussion, everybody,
Well,
about
yeah.
the AJ Brown stuff in a second. Dan's just talking about this
But
right now.
I'm prefacing all this by saying A.J. Brown is traded, okay? So Devonte Smith is your number one. You need somebody opposite of him that has the threat to take away the double teams that Smith is going to see. So I think they need to put young talent there. And, I've seen the wide receiver class is not necessarily great if you want a standout stud, but I see that it is good if you need a wide receiver 2 to complement a stud, and I think that favors us. So I would like them to get a wide receiver, but I don't think the Eagles will get one in the first round because edge rusher is such a glaring need right now.
Dan, speaking of the wide receivers, I'm going to go through the roster real quick. And first of all, a couple of these I've never even heard of. Let's run through the list. Now, the Eagles did acquire Hollywood Brown, during, what was it?
It was like the first
season.
day of free agency, I
Yeah,
think.
the first day of free agency. Dan, did you know that, and I looked at his stats, Hollywood Brown, 49 receptions, only 587 yards with 5 touchdowns last year. And I think the year before it wasn't, was he injured? There were some stats that were missing or something like that. That was saying, that's not a wow factor to me.
No, he was. It was either his first or second year he posted over 1,000 yards, but since then he's been like mediocre. I mean, is he an elite talent? No, but he can be
Is
a
he
solid.
complimentary to Devonte Smith?
I think he's good as a number 3 receiver. I wouldn't be confident in going into the season and saying that Hollywood Brown is your number 2.
With AJ there or not?
I'm saying AJ's not with the team, so
Okay, so Dan, no matter what we talk about in the receiver corps, if Devonte is, say, your number 1, then obviously AJ Brown is not going to be there. What Dan is saying now, talking about some of the others on there, obviously AJ is still on the list. So I did skip over the other Brown. Let's just put it that way. We've got Darius Cooper, Britton Covey. While he's listed as a wide receiver, he's very infrequently used to that. He's mostly used on special teams or, they know it's not going there. Danny Gray.
who?
Why have I? Danny Gray is listed as a wide receiver. And it looks he was on the team last year. He's in Eagles jersey. Have you ever even heard of him?
No.
I love that. He's like, who? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. There was one. Obviously, Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
That was picked up, and then there was a couple. Devonte Smith. We already know that. Who is the other one? Quez Watkins. Oh, Johnny Wilson. That's it. He got injured.
Yeah.
I thought he was very productive during preseason until he got injured. I thought he looked a lot better than the year before.
Yeah, and I think going into the season, I think what you're going to see is your wide receiver core is going to look like this. If they don't make a signing on draft day, you're going to have Smith. You're going to have Hollywood Brown. You're now going to have Dontavian Wicks, I think. Dontavian Wicks, the guy from the Packers. And your fourth wide receiver is going to be, I'm going to say Cooper, but I also think Johnny Wilson's going to be in there. And everybody else is going to be in a scramble. I do think they should keep Britton Covey. I know he's listed as a wide receiver, but because our punt return game was so much better with him in it. Yeah. Like, it became like an area of weakness to an area of strength, like overnight, once we decided to activate him from the practice squad. So I think you got to keep him there. Quez Watkins, don't even get me started. I don't know how the hell he's on this team. So
didn't he catch a ball last year?
He caught something.
Yeah.
I think melanoma. But
Dan, I gotta ask you with Britton Covey, are you becoming a Britton Covey fan like I've been, or am I bringing you over to it, or you just feel the comfortableness of him when he's on special teams?
I like him at special teams, yes.
I didn't say a wide receiver, even though he's listed as a potential. I think you're right, because in special teams last year, it was like 3 times in the one game that they dropped the ball.
Yeah,
they literally
exactly.
3 times.
Yeah, on kickoffs too. It's like they just couldn't. It was like schoolyard. Nobody can handle the ball, and then they activate him, and all of a sudden we're getting like 20 and 30-yard punt returns. It's like, holy shit, somebody knows how to catch the ball.
Yep, and run it. So I'm really glad that they did that. Okay, Dan. Before we talk about the wide receiver aspect, of course, we're going to talk about A.J. Brown here. And then afterwards, we want to end the episode. Pretty much we're going to be talking about all the shit that's been going on with Jalen and all the comments and everything that's been out there. First of all, before I get over to the A.J. stuff, I guess we're never going to have a press conference on all the new coaches that have been brought onto the team and the turnover. We're going to see them in the first minicamp or something?
Yeah, I don't know why the hell that is. I mean, I would have thought that we would have had an introductory presser for Sean Mannion, because I don't even know what the hell he looks like. He could show up at the... I
don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, by the way. I just have to tell you. Everybody else is saying it. We're saying the thing. Mannion, whatever it is. I don't know what he looks like either.
I mean, we could be standing next to him at the autism bike ride, and I would just think he was another fan who paid an entry fee. I don't know who the hell this guy is.
No, yep, I agree with you. I mean, I think I'm disappointed we haven't, but I guess I understand. Like we said, maybe they're keeping it away from the Philly fans. Maybe they're keeping it away from, us giving them a hard time. But listen, I've heard good things, but then again, I need to see good things before I can relate to these good things.
I mean, it's either you're going to take your questions and your beating now, or you're going to take your beating later. Either way, the Philly media is going to rip them apart. So,
yep. One loss, doesn't matter. You can win the thing. One loss, one bad throw. Hey, why was that play called? What were you seeing there? He's
going to be second-guessed. I mean, he hasn't even called a play in the league, and I'm sure everybody's second-guessing whatever. He's probably at the grocery store being second-guessed if he wants those bananas or not.
Plastic or paper, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Check, card. Gonna. Okay, so we're not going to see him. And in fact, the Eagles Autism, while I'm jumping around here a little bit, is May 9th. Dan and I are there. Come on out. Support everybody on there. And Dan, you know what I actually heard? So Christine just told me this, that they are shutting down the streets for it.
Oh, wow. They were able to coordinate that?
Year? Yeah. Last year, we literally we had to wait till cops got up and shut it down. We're trying to ride. Cars are going in between. It got a little dangerous for it, but they are literally shutting down the streets for this ride.
There's going to be a lot of pissed off people.
It's Philly. They're always pissed off. Doesn't matter.
That's true. They're like us. I'm always pissed off.
So May 9th, come on down, support the Eagles Autism. There's a lot of things, a lot of events going on. I can't wait for it. So hopefully we'll see everybody there. Dan, let's talk about the A.J. Brown thing. You said he's gone. Are we actually going to see A.J. gone, or is this just going to be lingering on into Game 5?
Okay. Let me ask you this. Okay, from an outside perspective, how can you bring him back? from a personality standpoint, everybody says that they have no problem with him. But I don't understand how you can't. I mean, he's got a big mouth on him. He constantly is whining. I have a problem with the fact that I watched a guy show lack of effort last year. You know, I don't care what your personality is necessarily unless you're going way over the top. But if you show me lack of effort, that's your job, okay? If you want to go in there and half-ass it, you don't deserve the job. So I can't get behind him being on this team anymore. I think that the writing's been on the wall. I think that they probably will get good trade compensation for him. And I don't think it's the Eagles that want to trade him. I think it's he wants a trade. And it's weird because all he has to do is come out and say, I want to be traded or I don't want to be traded. And we wouldn't have anything to talk about. But he's been in like friggin' just off on his own thing, not discussing anything. So it leaves all this speculation. So I don't bring him back, okay? Great talent, good player on the field. But as I've said many times, I think at this point it's addition by subtraction. Because I took a lot of heat from people on the chat board saying, oh, well, Devonte Smith, you know, isn't a true number one. I call bullshit on that because I think if A.J. Brown wasn't on this team, Devonte Smith would be putting up 1,300 to 1,400 yards a season. And no one can convince me otherwise because he makes one-on-one contested catches. He makes sideline catches. We've seen him go across the middle. He's got just as good a hands as A.J. Brown. The only thing that he doesn't do well that A.J. Brown does is after the catch. He's not a guy that's going to bowl you over. He's not really good with juking you out or anything like that. But in terms of true receiver, I think it's addition by subtraction at this point.
Let me answer your question. You asked, how do we bring him back? The answer is we don't. I am with you. I think if he wouldn't come and be cryptic on his Twitch and be cryptic within it, and he wants, and I do think he wants a trade. And I think the Eagles are trying to be that very they don't want to come out and say, hey, he wants a trade, but they would like him to stay, but they would also like him to shut the hell up and stop whining and stop complaining. I think he should have been gone almost this entire past year because after his little whining and reading a book and all that stuff became perspective, you knew that it was there. You knew that it was coming out. And, yeah, they got to the Super Bowl. They did all the other stuff. And you think that would have shut him up. He is on a top team. And, I mean, like, 3 teams out there, the Eagles are one of those, okay? I believe that. I'm not a homer. I'm just thinking that if you look at the talent on the team, AJ is a whiny little bitch. And I don't think you bring him back because it is detrimental to the morale of the team. And what I think, and I'll end with this, is that I think they need to do it now. I mean, designate it June 1st, whatever you do, because of, you know, I don't even know exactly how it all works. But rip the freaking Band-Aid off so the team can focus on the team and not the noise that this is going to create.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I honestly think that there is a handshake deal in place. After all the discussions and everything, you didn't see the Patriots go out and make a big signing other than Romeo Doubs. And they let Stephon Diggs walk. I honestly think they have a handshake deal that says, listen, we are going to trade A.J. Brown to you guys, but it's not going to be on the books until June 1st. So it can't be leaked unless it could be a tampering issue. So it just
but
needs to wait. But they can't
say it? They can't come out and say, yes, it's post.
I don't know. I don't know. You can do that with cuts. But I don't know if you can designate that.
Look at the new season, the free agency where the legal tampering window opened up, but there was all these deals happening before the legal tampering.
Yeah.
We were confused about that crap. So what I would understand is let's just say, yes, it is. Clear your locker and move on. Go to the Patriots because we just watched them at the Super Bowl. And, hey, AJ, if you think you're going to be great down there,
have fun. That's all I'm going to say because the AFC is a much harder road to the Super Bowl with a lot more teams that are upper echelon. So have fun with that because you'll get your yardage because there's nobody else to throw to. But will that translate into wins? Who the hell knows?
We've talked about this so many times. Why would somebody want yards and no wins? What's a complaint about getting the ball but not the wins? I mean, the Eagles, look at it. You had the wins just because you weren't getting the ball. And the other thing that I got to touch on, and you said it, is the effort. We saw so many times that he just stopped. He wasn't giving effort. He wasn't blocking. He was like, hey, it's not coming to me. You might as well go inside to the other guy. I'm just standing here. That type of it. If you looked at some of the other players that were giving max effort, blocking, max effort out there, and they were not getting the ball, that's the player I want on my team. If I take a loss because that player is still giving his heart out, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, the moment that a coach or a GM or anybody has to answer questions in their press conference about a player's lack of effort is the time to say, done. Because
everybody sees it then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're trying to not call him out. You're trying to say, well, he wasn't the read on the play. He was just there as a dummy or whatever the hell it is. But still, you weren't a dummy on that play because there were so many times that, like you said, he stopped, okay? And I don't want to hear the shit of, well, it was a broken route. They weren't on the same page. You just stopped, okay? You didn't give effort. You didn't give a rat's ass.
Or the one ball you could have caught if he kept running, and that would have been a touchdown. It would have been a difference of the game,
Yeah, I'm tired of him. I'm tired of it. And honestly, I'm tired of the whole drama from the wide receiver position. It seems like that is the position that everybody bitches, but I don't understand why we can't get two Devonte Smiths out there. Guys who just go about doing their business, are good players, and just shut the hell up. I don't get it.
They're for the team.
Yeah.
They are a team. That's it. And the other thing, okay, so the noise around A.J. Brown has kind of subsided, and we haven't heard much about it. But the thing that has picked up is the noise around Jalen Hurts. Now, things have been quiet. Then all of a sudden, rumors, speculation, anonymous sources, all that crap is just BS. For a guy that was a Super Bowl MVP, won a Super Bowl, was at 2 Super Bowls, has given it all, there seems to be something, not only with the media, if there's something internal, I want to know about it. I want to smack that person because this guy's getting no love from anybody, yet he is like the top QB out there. I don't get it. If you look at some of the others, why are we not hounding them and talking shit about them?
Hey, I'm right there on board with you. I mean, I wrote down a lot of things that could go off on the thing, and the first thing I wrote that will add a little levity to the situation is the funniest, stupidest, dumbest shit I've ever heard. Okay, one of the analysts on WIP is talking, and he says this line, quote unquote, Jalen Hurts does nothing at the QB position at an elite level other than win. What the fuck does that mean? Isn't that the only stat that ever matters? That's the only stat that should matter. I mean, do we want to be Dak Prescott, who puts up these 5,000-yard seasons but doesn't win? I don't get it.
That is the dumbest freaking comment. Nothing at elite except for win. Well, let me get this straight. So winning is not enough. You have to have all the stats behind it in order to make it at an elite level. But he won, and he's winning. And just because, like, okay, this last season, I think we can all agree that it was not one of the best seasons. It was almost like 2 years ago. It's not like he regressed. It just, the offense wasn't there. The running game wasn't there. All that other stuff. We can blame, the last OC. I mean, what the hell? Who was the last OC? I can't even remember his name anymore.
Yeah, Pachulo.
Yeah.
But let me piggyback off that real quick, okay? You're talking about last season might have been a down season for him. He had almost, not identical, but in many areas, better statistics than everybody's love child, Justin Herbert, who is immune from any sort of criticism in the national spotlight other than he's a really good quarterback. Okay? For instance, real quick, Justin Herbert threw one more touchdown pass, okay? He threw 7 more interceptions. He had 500 more passing yards, but he threw the ball 58 more times. 2% more completion percentage and had 6 less rushing touchdowns, okay? So everybody's love child, Justin Herbert, out there posting those sort of shit numbers and completely shit the bed in the playoffs against Jalen, who put up similar stats, who's being crucified out there. Time's yours, John. Go ahead. Make that make sense.
So it's all a perspective on who somebody likes. And when somebody is performing and doing well, it's more or less they put him down because, first of all, I don't think Herbert is that really good of a QB. I don't know, why do people love him so much? But when you look at Jalen and you look at what he does and the numbers that he puts up based off the information that you provided, I mean, first of all, it's like, I mean, you can't even, it's no comparison. But here's the thing. Because somebody is good and doing good, and I'm sorry, he's winning, but he's not elite, because at an elite level, excuse the sarcasm, everybody. It's just like, I saw the one for the extension. Why aren't they extending Hertz? And there's a speculations that they want to get rid of him. He has a no-trade clause, everybody. He is the only QB ever to have a no-trade clause, correct?
In Philadelphia sports history, yes.
In Philadelphia sports history. But he's the only ever to get that worked into a thing. So they always say how he's trying to get on top of everything with the extension. Let's get a QB extension. But they also talked about Burrow. There was another one or whatever it is.
Right, Lamar,
that's right. Mm-hmm. So, and getting their extension, doing all that other stuff, and the comparison. Where are they? Where is Lamar? Where is Burrow? Where were they in the Super Bowl runs, the MVPs, the Super Bowl wins? Where are they on their stats? And the comparison is not apples to apples. They're not doing what Jalen does. Yet everybody, not everybody, but so many people are putting Jalen down and doing this speculation and pulling out this information from behind the scenes. The next person that says this is an anonymous source, I want to kick them. I don't even want to hear it. I could be an anonymous source and throw it out there, but doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, grow a pair and come forward.
Come out and call it.
Yeah, exactly. Come out to it. I mean, and the thing is that Jalen, when you talk about the contract extension, they're using that as a negative and saying, oh, well, he's not signing an extension now because they want to see him prove it. Well, he's got 2 years left on the contract, first off, okay?
Yep.
Second off, Baltimore is not talking extensions with Lamar Jackson, who has 2 years left on his contract. Is that performance-based? Nobody's talking about that. Burrow, he's not being talked about for an extension right now. He's got 2 years left on the contract. Why is no one talking about that as a negative for Burrow? Oh, well, he must be in a prove-it year. Like they're going to actually trade Joe Burrow. Come on. Jalen Hurts is the only one that's being talked about in a negative light when it comes to this. And I brought up Herbert because, one, I freaking hate the comparison. And two, because Herbert is universally counted as a top 5 quarterback in the league. So how can you have those numbers compared to Jalen, who wins more, and say Jalen is not a top 10 quarterback in the league? Make it make sense. And it's not just the national media, it's the Philly media that's getting on this anti-Jalen stance, and I don't get it, okay? Because we need to learn to appreciate who we have here, okay? Because going back to the 90s, we had Randall, great quarterback. Unfortunately, he didn't win much, okay? Well, he didn't win at all. Let me put it that way. McNabb was a great quarterback. but he never won the Super Bowl, okay? So then we get into the plethora of Kevin Kolb, A.J. Feely, Coy Detmer, Ty Detmer. Pete was before that.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
Then you had Sammy Sleeves. You had friggin'
Carson Wentz,
Nick Foles. You had all these quarterbacks, and they didn't get you to the promised land except for Nick Foles at the very end. But now we're talking about, I'm going to say Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback we've ever had in franchise history in terms of success, okay? And statistics, because he is very comparable. And yet we're crucifying this guy like we can go out and get somebody else. Okay, there's only 3 quarterbacks in this league that I would take over him. Josh Allen, who Josh Allen doesn't grow on trees, guys. You're not going to get another Josh Allen out there. Patrick Mahomes, again, you're not going to get another one of him. You got lucky to get him. And I am a big fan of Joe Burrow, and I think that if he had an offensive line and an actual defense that didn't let up 30 points a game, he would take you to the promised land. But again, Joe Burrow is not, he hasn't gotten there yet. Lamar Jackson, he's got to have a great supporting cast around him unless he's not that overall successful. Herbert, get the fuck out of my face with that. Dak Prescott, he's had elite offenses around him. He had Ezekiel Elliott in his prime, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup all in the same year with a top 5 defense. And what did he do? He shit the bed in the divisional round. So,
Dalton Schultz, didn't he, too?
Dalton. He might have had Witten at that time. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's had some elite players.
He's had both around those times. So
he's had elite players. So it's not just Jalen Hurts that's had this elite talent around him. I don't care if you have. I'll go back. I don't care if you have the dream team out there, as Vince Young would say. That doesn't translate to on-field success. You need somebody to drive the ship, and Jalen Hurts does that. So I don't understand why everybody's just throwing him away. Go ahead, people. Tell me who you'd rather have than Jalen Hurts on your team right now as an active quarterback, not named Mahomes, Burrow, or Allen. Go ahead. And you better come with something legit, because if you come with the eye test, he looks better, don't start that shit with me. Because Dak Prescott puts up 5,000 yards a season because of the fact that his team is losing by 30 in the fourth quarter and he's just throwing the ball. So stats are empty in a lot of cases.
Garbage time, man. That's usually where all the stats get the thing. The thing that I want to talk about with Jalen is that we know he has deficiencies in some things, where he struggles at. And Dan, you got a couple that we threw on the list. Obviously, throwing over the middle, anticipation on the throws. Mm-hmm. He's not going to thread the needle all the time. And in fact, it's going to be very infrequent that he's going to thread the needle, right? I think the other thing is reading the defense. And I love your note here, beyond the first look. I think he had that issue a couple years ago where he couldn't read the defenses, and then his Super Bowl run, it was like night and day, man. He just he could do everything and anything that he wanted to it. And pretty much your receiving corps, Devonte and AJ, were on the team. They're on the team this year. The difference is that you had a different, offensive coordinator. You didn't need to rely on throwing the ball because you had Saquon. And there were some retirements and some people who left, but I don't think that really should have changed your run game as drastic as it did. And I don't think all the weight needs to be on Jalen's shoulders on the inefficiencies that are out there. Everybody has to step on the team. Granted, I would love to see him throw in the middle a little bit more. The short passes doesn't need to be deep. I would love to see him really kind of lean on some of his players to make that throw. But I think those not in the middle or, I love the slant routes, by the way, as long as it's not, like 2 yards off. And, what the hell, what's the route called? Whatever. Why can't I think of it?
Hitch routes.
That's right. The hitch route. They were number one in the league on hitch routes for it. I don't want to see those anymore. But I agree with you.
Yeah. And every quarterback in the league has deficiencies, okay? There is no perfect quarterback. I mean, Josh Allen, he's never made a Super Bowl, Okay, so that's a deficiency. Patrick Mahomes, he's got deficiencies. He's not always the most accurate passer out there. Great talent.
Look at him this past season with Mahomes. He was not where he was, let's just say, his Super Bowl run again, for the Eagles, and then getting demolished by the Eagles at the Super Bowl. But everybody's looking at Mahomes like he should have been, the elite and everything. Last season, he sucked.
Yeah, and again, everybody has these deficiencies. And yes, I think the biggest glaring one is that Jalen Hurts doesn't throw over the middle of the field, and I feel it's because he doesn't throw with anticipation. He doesn't throw a guy open, okay? When he sees the guy open, I think he doesn't see them immediately, so he questions himself about throwing it because the window's closing a little bit quicker. So that's something that needs to be worked on. But at the same time, good route concepts and good play calling will get those people open. You can't just call man beaters and say, our receiver's better than your receiver, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Four verticals, here we go.
Yeah, 4 verticals. Fortunately, the Eagles have had a stacked wide receiver roster to where they can win those one-on-ones consistently. But at a point, and you saw it last year, they have to have legit coaching to coach the players open. And that didn't happen last year. And Jalen, 7 coordinators in 7 years, or whatever the hell the number is, you're always learning a new offense, so that does make it harder on him. That's not an excuse, guys, because there are things that he needs to get better no matter the offensive system. But the fact is that he wins, okay? It doesn't matter what coordinator you give him. He's the only quarterback in the world that could have won with Kevin Petula last year, okay? He made Brad Johnson look semi-okay. So there's that. And then he had Steichen, and everybody was saying that the offensive coordinator job is not a desirable position in Philly, okay? Throw out the whole fans egg in the house thing, okay? Why would it not be a desirable position? Steichen, head coach. Kellen Moore, head coach. Petullo, purgatory. Get the hell out of here. Brad Johnson, I don't even know if he's coaching high school right now. But when the Eagles have success, their coordinators are head coaches. So it's not like they're just bums out there. Why would this not be a desirable position? You have a great chance of success. And the bar for calling the offense is pretty damn low because they had one of the worst offenses we've seen last year, and they still won 11 games. So just improve on that. Be 29th and not 30th, and we'll be happy.
That's really ironic. Won 11 games, but one of the worst offensive play calling I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is... You know why that is? Is because our guys are better than your guys. No. But anyway, I mean, it's literally, if you think about it, Jalen made great decisions. I just can't stand that we're pulling this shit out of our ass to talk about Jalen through anonymous sources and then speculating on the non-contract extension and talking about some of the other QBs who are not anywhere near an elite status or have a winning record. If you want to look at stats, it's great, but look at their winning record. What has Jalen been doing? He's been winning.
Yeah, well, I guess winning is a secondary stat. I guess winning is not important anymore.
And we've been talking about that. That is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen is that winning is secondary to numbers.
Mm-hmm. Everybody wants the 5,000-yard passer. The good
like
take
AJ
the 5.
Brown. He wants to catch the 5,000 yards so he can be on a losing team.
Yeah, well, enjoy that because I got news for you. When the Eagles' offense, passing-wise, actually looked good, A.J. Brown was out that week. So
twice.
Mm-hmm.
When he was out those 2 times. Eagles did great. We weren't force-feeding the ball. Dan, you talked about him anticipating an open receiver or knowing it is. Remember during the Super Bowl, the Dagger, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Devonte Smith. Literally, that defense was the quarterback was on him, and yet he knew he threw it with it literally it was like within a yard of Devonte for the touchdown. So Jalen has it in him for it. I think it's the play calling and getting these and being very creative, by the way, not this vanilla crap. All right. And if I see another hitch route come out immediately, I think I am going down to Mannion's house and knocking on him and politely asking him to knock it off.
And I think that Jalen might thrive better in a shorter to intermediate passing game. Even though he is one of the better long ball throwers in the league, I mean, how many times have we said, just throw a halfback screen? Mm-hmm. What happened to the West Coast system? Just throw a screen. Don't throw a bubble screen to Devonte Smith, who's like 150 pounds soaking wet. Don't do that, especially when you got A.J. Brown blocking on the outside and not blocking. So don't do that. But throw a running back screen. I mean,
why did we didn't even see that last year at all. We have an elite running back who, when he's one-on-one or something with somebody, he's going to freaking hurdle the guy. Why are we using Devonte Smith, who, I'm afraid his legs were going to snap sometimes.
When's the last time we saw a halfback screen? I can't think of one. Like a legit halfback screen. I mean, Westbrook, how many years ago was that? Maybe a little bit with McCoy? I don't remember seeing one with Miles Sanders.
No,
so it's crazy, but I think everybody's saying that Jalen doesn't work well under center. Well, first off, he's never been asked for it, okay? And a lot of the criticism out there is Jalen was contentious in saying, I don't want to run this, I want to run this, okay? First off, what quarterback hasn't gone in the quarterback room and said, I want to run this because I feel more comfortable running this? But because it's Jalen Hurts, all of a sudden, he's a problem, okay?
But why wouldn't you listen to the QB? Why would you force something onto him that is going to make or break the team? Like, it does not make any sense.
No, and the thing I go back to is I don't think that Jalen would be opposed to doing these things because the bottom line is Jalen has proven all he wants to do is win. He doesn't give a shit if he passes for 80 yards or 800 yards. All he wants to do is win. And if them asking him to play more under center and them asking him to do more motions in the backfield translates to a better offense and winning, then I don't think he'll give a shit, to be honest with you. And I don't think it's something that he's not going to be good at. I mean, they went more under center last year towards the end, and I think that they were more successful with play action and stuff like that. But, I don't think – I've always said that I don't think that it's a matter of Jalen can't pass the ball. It's that they haven't asked him to pass the ball, okay? Everybody's stuck on the fact that their passing offense in the Super Bowl year was like 29th or something like that. This year, it was like 29th or 30th, okay? But they didn't pass the ball a lot. If Jalen goes out there and throws the ball 40 to 45 times a game, then obviously the stats are going to be inflated, and they're going to have a higher pass offense. But that's not who they are. Is it because of Jalen that they're not that? I don't think so. I think it's just because you have a solid offensive line, and you want to run the ball. So I think Jalen can do it. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that Jalen is going to have a career year in yards and touchdowns this year.
I think that's – and I'm going to go off and say add on a little bit onto that because I do want to transition real quick. We've been talking about Jalen and we know that the run game really was ineffective last year. I think Saquon is going to have an outstanding year this year. For some reason, working with this new offensive coordinator who has no proven experience in play calling, we know this, but I've seen some great things, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the run game is going to be I'm going to go out on a limb and say excellent. I think for some reason we're going to right the ship in a lot of this aspect. AJ's going to be gone. Jalen's going to be quiet all the critics. Saquon's going to have an outstanding year. I just think this year would be the year that they would click and they would actually come around there. And I'm hoping that Mannion is everything that everybody is putting him up to be, but that he does not get a head coach job after this year, because I do not want to see another OC in Philly.
Yeah, we need some consistency, and we need a guy that's actually going to stick around, and not a guy that's just going to stick around because we have no other option. A guy that actually is good and sticks around.
Literally, Dan, I'm going to end with this, is that I know Vic Fangio was talking about retirement. He came back for this year. He's doing it. Do you think this is his last year?
I do.
It's disappointing because Vic is so good. Like, just, I mean, I don't want to say, I know offensive coordinator is a tough position to do it. I do not want to see Nick in any coordinating position at all out there, unless he's not on the Philly team and he goes coordinates elsewhere. But I agree with you. If they're really toying around with the retirements and then they are undecided and they come back, it's usually typically means it's their last year unless some phenomenal happens.
Yeah, I just think it's age, and I think they had to kind of beg him to come back this year because at that time when he was questioning it, they already lost Denard Wilson to the defensive coordinator position in Dallas.
Yep.
And I think that Jim Schwartz out there got fired, or no, he wasn't fired. He decided he wanted to leave Cleveland.
Yep.
I think Jim Schwartz is going to be your defensive coordinator next year because he actually doesn't have a job right now. And there were rumors that he was holding out, waiting to see the decision on Fangio. So I think you're actually going to see Schwartz come back, which I'm not mad at that. I think he'll come back.
I'll take Jim Schwartz
after.
over. I thought he was good. Maybe they will bring him on as a consulting or a assistant capacity, whatever it is. That way he can reintegrate himself with the Eagles.
Yeah, but I think it'll be Schwartz next year. But I don't think
I'm good with that.
Fangio's going to be around, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tough, but if they go with Schwartz, it's one of those things. It's a bittersweet. You don't want to see Vic go and everything. All right, everybody, we got to wrap things up. This episode has been awesome. It's been highlighted not only with the draft, A.J. Brown and his, departure, we're hoping, and then, everything around Jalen Hurts. We did not talk anything about head coach Nick Sirianni because there's really no information to provide. He is the cheerleader of head coaches. He's doing what he does. He's quiet the media and how he's stuffed. Dan, before I close this out, how about you give us your thoughts?
I do think it's unfortunate that the only thing that's been going on for this team has been negative speculation. And I really do hope that this shit stops. And I think that by letting go of AJ, by kind of purging the situation, I think it will get better. But I think there's so much negative media attention on the team right now. And you just, from an outside perspective, you wouldn't think that this was a team that made and won the Super Bowl last year or 2 years ago. So it's just hard to fathom. But, we stay faithful to the team and the process that's going on. And I'm faithful to Jalen Hurts. And I look at it from the perspective of it could be a lot worse. And, all he does is win. And apparently that's not elite enough for paid media members. So, that you can take that statement and shove it right up your ass.
Well, everybody, this has been the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Meyer along with Dan Palmieri. And guess what?
We're out of here. Go Birds.